right, you're in the guts of the SC2 push right now, and I could put you through the pain of listening to the same message that I had last week, which was where I basically talked about whether your push is off to a great start, not the start you wanted, or in the middle of the road. How do you manage that mentally and emotionally in order to capture the result? And you may want to hear that message again and go back and watch that. But what I want to talk to you about today, okay, is the way SC2 flows, what you can get out of SC2 and what happens afterwards. I've been in martial arts for a long time, and one of the things that's really funny to me, I remember in my young days working super hard to try to get my black belt. And I remember having instructors or trainers or other black belts come in. Some of them just completely let themselves get out of shape, have stopped working out, but they still strut around wearing their black belt because they feel all cool, And then you watch them actually training with somebody who is, a blue or a green belt, and the blue or green belt is clearly better than the black belt. Now, sometimes it happens just because people enter into pretty old age and you just can't move the way you used to. But other times it happens because people are working hard toward the goal of getting their black belt because that was their goal, and then they basically stop training. Well, I would rather be a green belt who can wipe out a black belt than a black belt who stops training and basically just has a piece of clothing on, okay, at that point right now. It's what does the black belt mean? What does it symbolize? What does it do for you, not just, by way of appearance, but what does it do inside? When it comes to what you're doing this summer, you're working toward a black belt. For some of you, that black belt is to get to 30% commission. For some of you, it's to get all the way to 50% commission as you're driving your business as an FSM. Well, if you work hard and you get to FSM by the time you get to August, by the time you get to SC2, and then you stop, you're like the black belt that got out of the shape. Do you realize that it takes so much less effort to earn as an FSM as it does when you're starting off? You have your first $1,000 in sales when you're in Cutco and you make $100, okay, $100. All you have to do is sell $200 as an FSM to do that. Okay, it's enormous, the power that it gives you. You have a grand day when you first start, that $1,000 day, 10%. $1,000 day, 50%, 500 bucks. You don't want to work toward a goal and then stop. You want to go through that. Another martial arts example. I remember the first time that I was going to break a stack of bricks, my instructor comes up to me and he had this great Korean accent. He had the whole martial arts kind of thing about him, And he looks at me and he says, David, and I wish I could emulate his accent. Maybe Darren Schroeder could do that for us. He likes to, I met Darren one time and I introduced Darren to somebody and I said, Darren, this is so-and-so. And he goes, my name is actually Jackie Chan. I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway, when you go to break the bricks, he looked at me and he said, Dave, when you go to break the bricks, something is going to break. Okay, and I thought to myself, how are you trying to inspire me or scare me? It was actually really kind of intimidating because I thought, it's actually true. And he defined this thing for me a little bit more clear. He said, you're basically going to take your hand and as fast as you can throw it, which is, I don't know even how fast it is, 20, 30, 40 miles an hour. I'm not sure how fast a punch actually goes. He says, you're going to be hitting concrete. Okay? Now, at some point when you do that, you might consider how irrational it is. And if that consideration of how irrational that is happens right at the moment before impact, and you hesitate a little bit, you will not break the bricks, you will break your hand or your wrist. And again, I thought, are you really trying to inspire me here, or are you trying to scare me? And what it comes down to is the idea that you have to stop thinking about it and just simply go for it. You can't hit the top layer of the brick. You have to go through the bricks, aim through the bottom of the bricks, and when you do that, you can break them. If your whole goal is just to get to SC2 and then stop, if your whole goal is to get to FSM and then stop, you're not experiencing 50%. You're not experiencing what you learned at SC2. You've got to go for it and drive it. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, I'm kind of tired already for SC2. I got to ask you a question. Really? Seriously? You got the landscaping friends that are out there, right? They're waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They're moving 150-pound bricks over here and over there all day long. They're done at 7 o'clock at night. They have a limited income because they're only going to earn their hourly wage no matter what. You have friends that are working fast food. They need to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning to open the place up. They're working 40 hours and doing all that kind of stuff. Really? Are you really too tired? How many demos have you done? Now, some of you might be, and that's good. Well, then you take a break. You do what most people do. Take a couple days off, and you dive back into it. I want you to think long term, because I want you to be successful in this business, not just a little bit, but a lot of it. Some people get into Cutco because they want to buy beer and pizza money. Well, that's fine. I just want you to buy the best beer. and the finest pizza, okay? Some people get in because they want to pay for school. Well, that's also excellent, and depending on where you go, that might be a really big thing to bite off. Well, in order to do that, you can't be ordinary. You need to be extraordinary. Everybody can be ordinary. Extraordinary people, by the way, are only ordinary people doing extraordinary things. It is ordinary to go, I'm tired, I'm going to take a break. Well, yeah, take a break. It is extraordinary to say, I'm tired, I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to fire afterwards, going for it. Everybody needs the break, but extraordinary people don't see the break as the end, okay? They see it as exactly what it represents, a break, okay, which then has a new beginning, and you go for it. That's what I want you thinking about. So kill it in the rest of this SC2. Really go for it, but make sure you're doing the things that you need to do to prepare yourself mentally for what happens after SC2, which is where the major portion of your learning and your earning take place. Go for it. You rock. We'll see you at SC2.